So yes, if you're just joining us, this is Game 3 of the Bronze Medal match of the Fall Link to the Past Randomizer 2017 tournament, starting off with a red and a blue rupee.
Yeah, different starting locations. So let's get a map check. I believe all Crystal Light World. We have a 5 and 6 crystal in the Desert Palace.
So based on that, you know, possibly an easier or quicker seed for these runners, just based on the probability of Turtle Rock being a pendant, but of course, who knows if that'll play out.
JSR checking the tree pole. We have bombs on the level 1 tree pole. That is great. That'll definitely accelerate the beginning here. They'll have all the bombs they need for Kakariko, and they'll have plenty of rupees to buy more if they see it's necessary. And the bush crab also having bombs as well, and the uncle also having bombs too.
Oh my gosh! And the runners are off to an explosive start.
Yes.
I'm sorry, I will not give you another one of those.
Ooh. Was that what I think it was?
That is an Ega required seed to get a lift upgrade.
That's exactly what I saw. So yes, we do have a glove on the lumberjack tree. That means Aghanim will be required at some point.
Now, I'm sure if AA were here in this commentary, he could tell us exactly what the odds are of that being the first glove or the second glove they end up getting. As it is, you know, it could come either way, and it's going to bug these runners for a while, I expect.
Yeah, because in order to get into, well, not even just into Aghanim, but also just to get that item, they're going to need a sword upgrade, they're going to need the magic cape, or they're just going to need the master sword instead of, like, both of those. And then they're also going to need a light source to see through the Aghanim tower, and also need boots to actually get the item out of the tree. So there are quite a number of items we need before they can even get that glove. There's the cape at the race game immediately. There's one of the items right there.
I expect JSR is going to go get that, even though he doesn't know about the lumberjack requirement, just because you don't want to pass up the cave.
Yeah, definitely. So he is exactly going to go for that. I mean, he's probably just thinking, this could be an Agus required to see it as it is, so I may as well pick this up just on the off chance that it is.
And AA in the basement of the Thieves' Hut getting a lot of red things. No progression yet.
Even more red things. I thought this was the bronze match, not the red match.
Well, I'm sure we can come up with a reason to give one runner a red medal for something.
That's true, fair enough.
And it looks like just a piece of heart at the library. So no need there, as AA finds more bombs.
Well, at least they may not have to buy bombs at this point, which is always nice.
Yeah, even if the Ega required is a pain for them, at least that's one less thing to worry about. AA does get the flippers from the well.
And with all the rupees that they've been picking up, yeah, that Zora play looks to be very, very soon. So that would not be a bad play to make in the near future.
So aside from those flippers and that cape, I guess we're not seeing any other real rewards other than, you know, actually a pretty substantial bit of health and rupees coming out.
Yeah, it seems like at this point the seed is definitely telling them to go to the Zora area just with all the rupees and the flippers as a reward.
Yeah, and just looking at AA's rupee count right now, I wouldn't be surprised if by the time he's finished Mini Moldorm Cave, he's got the 500 he needs.
Yeah, very, very true.
And AA checking on the race game, he's going to see that there's a cape there. And not quite saving quid out of that.
Very quickly, got 2 subs in the chat right now. Thank you, Hiei, for gifting a 499 sub to. And also, thank you to Wayne for also subscribing as well. Thank you for the support to the Speed Gaming family.
Thanks for your support. You too can get on the leaderboard with that. Alright, so JSR is going to head up into the forest as AA goes back to Link's house. At this moment, I'm going to give a big shout out to our tracker, Volt, who's going to be updating those HUDs at the bottom of the screen, making sure that we know what those runners have throughout the race. Big thanks to you, Volt.
Yeah, definitely. All the trackers for all these races have been very helpful throughout the entire tournament. Just having basically something to refer to if we ever need to kind of a refresh of what the information is, what the pendants and crystals are. So they pay a lot of attention to these races to make sure those trackers are fully updated, and we appreciate the work that they put into all of this.
And what does Hobo have for us today? I feel like I should have guessed there would be bombs.
Yeah, I think at this point you kind of have to expect that.
All right, Dam holding a bottle, but having the green goo in that bottle, so nothing too great, but hey, it's an extra spot to check when you're in the village.
Now, one thing chat is pointing out is that JSR2 does not have the intel that there is a power glove in the lumberjack tree. Honestly, it's not terribly bad that he doesn't have that info, because glove is such an important item as it is, and there's a possibility we can't even get in the Dark World without that. At some point, the game's going to be pushing him to Aghanim anyway, and even if he gets the boots by some point, he's going to check the Bonk Rocks, and he'll be able to go straight up from the Bonk Rocks to check that lumber tree then. So he'll have the intel at some point.
Yeah, that's a really good point. It's something we've seen a lot of the racers do as this tournament went on. They said, let me skip checking lumberjack, let me wait until I have the boots, and I'm checking Bonk Rocks anyways. That's the only time where this gets relevant. We just saw a treasure trove.
Yes, we did. We were expecting rupees, but yeah, we got a lot of items there. Sorry, go ahead.
Blue goo, moon pearl, and ice rod.
At this point, that moon pearl definitely probably being the greatest treasure of those three. That is one of the items they'll need for Dark World access.
JSR having to dodge around these crabs, not having a sword just yet.
And inside the ice cave, we have more bombs.
I feel like we need to stop being excited for single chests because they're all the same thing at this point.
Yeah, I think you're right.
So AA taking the save and quit out, as JSR is going to look like check the Zora area.
And AA is making the play to the Eastern Palace area, going to check out what's in Sarashala's hut. And I don't know, it's kind of hard at this point to make an Eastern call. It wouldn't be a super bad idea. There are 3 possible items you could get from there, but I don't know. AA seems like he might want to hold off on just a little bit maybe, although he is looking for Aghanim access at this point, so he could probably check that out as well.
Yeah, at this point, anywhere you can find that lamp is where you're going to want to go. Or even just if you have a hunch about the lamp.
Oh, no, saving and quitting again, okay.
Interesting play. He does have bombs. Looks like he's going to make the play onto Zora at the same time JSR does.
Yeah, that's looking like it would be the case. JSR is really going to hope that he gets 20 more rupees in these next 3 item locations before he gets to Zora. Otherwise, he's going to have to come back here later if that is something important that Zora has.
Yeah, and that is perhaps why AA was delaying going to Tahazrala first. Fortunately, there's the 20 rupees for JSR.
Okay, so yeah, that is very good that he got that. And it is interesting because, yeah, even if AA got this 20 rupees right here, he wouldn't have had enough because Sashrala had 40 rupees in his backup, so he's going to have enough for Zora anyway, so that was a good call, definitely.
So for those wondering, there are, in the item pool, 10 items that are 3 bomb drops. I can't recall how many we've seen so far, but if you want to count up to 10, we're probably about halfway there at this point.
And we do have the lamp at the Zora ledge, so that is one item they're going to get here. That's another item they need for Aghanim. They still need a sword, though. A sword is still required for the Aghanim play.
So it looks like JSR is going to head into escape now. That lamp is going to open up the dark part of escape and maybe even provide a path all the way through to the back. But, without an actual weapon, he might be doing this all with bombs.
He does also have the Ice Rod as well. Not too many uses of it, but the Ice Rod is a potential another weapon that they could use. They can use it against the ball and chain guard at the very end by freezing the guard and throwing the guard at the ball and chain guy.
Oh, I hope we see some of that play.
I wouldn't be surprised if we do. That is a really good strat.
AA going to check the tree pull as well. Going to get 80 rupees out of it. So very good tree pull RNG here. But AA is going to have to check in the uncle area just to pick up some more bombs.
Okay, there is that small key that will allow them to get to the back of escape once they do check the item that's in the dark escape section. So they can go all the way. They don't need to get that power glove to get to the back of escape.
That's right, and we're going to see AA head in here as well. Probably have to make use of the exact same bomb strats. No chat, they do not have a B, unfortunately. Otherwise, that would be an ideal weapon to use.
How did that bomb not work?
I have no idea.
Okay, it worked that time. Okay, that guard's not immune to bombs, we promise.
JSR, if you're watching this on the VOD, I think that bomb should have hit.
Yeah, I agree too. Yeah, as you can see, it can be pretty risky just going in this place with just bombs. General strat is you want to kind of hold the bomb for a little bit, wait for it to explode, and then throw it at the guard, but sometimes the guards notice you and they kind of follow you around, trolling you a bit. So you have to be really kind of careful and cautious with their routing through the rooms.
And some clever cape play by JSR here. Not setting up the death warp, probably going to save and quit out of here as he finds a bomb upgrade. The save and quit out is a great plan. You can go and buy bombs and then head back into the castle if you need to.
That is true. JSR does have one bomb. I think that's all he has at this point for. Yeah, because I don't. He's gonna need that bomb for the wall. Like, how is he gonna get rid of those rats if he decides to go all the way?
Well, if I remember right, there's only one rat that needs to actually be killed for the key, and everything else, if you're good at dodging, you can get through there.
Yeah, but if he uses that bomb on it, he won't have a bomb for the wall, though.
This is correct.
Oh wait, the ice rod. I think the ice rod can.
Perhaps the ice rod.
Yeah.
For a minute, I thought he might have been setting up a tree pull to get even more bomb, but.
Oh, he does have the. Yeah, I think the ice rod does work against the small rats.
And it looks like AA is preparing for the Death Warp. And just the map and the dark chest, so we're going to see a full 3 items at the very back part.
It's a good probability that one of those items is going to be the sword they need, too, to progress.
Yeah, if we don't see some sort of progression right here. Oh, JSR switching to the ice rod. And getting stuck.
And yeah, you need to at least throw another rat at the rat, I guess.
JSR losing a bit of time, actually a fair amount of time to AA at this point, as he has to stop and think about how he's going to approach this. Don't use that bomb, JSR.
Yeah, ooh. Yeah, that is what I was worried about, because yeah, now he does not have a way to blow open that wall.
AA, with plenty of bombs, fortunately, is able to get through here, and JSR is just heading out the back door, I guess. Unfortunately, even if he gets a drop from these rats, I don't think he can go back down the stairs. There's a sword and a glove for AA. So, you know, normally people use a glove to get down there. AA finds a glove in there with the other glove at Lumberjacks. That was definitely the intended progression, and JSR has just lost a whack of time.
Yeah, definitely. And he is going to have to go back through there unless Agina or Eastern has a sword.
Meanwhile, AmazingAmpharos, now that he's got his sword, he knows he can clear Aga Tower. He's not going to waste any time. He's just going to head through there right now. I'm not sure where JSR is going at the moment. Is he venturing out to buy bombs?
I think so, yeah. At this point, I'm just kind of imagining what's going through his head, and honestly, like, that's just a situation that you just don't really see at all. So, again, it must have just, like, kind of slipped his mind that, oh, wait, I needed that bomb, and then he just used it and was hoping for maybe a bomb drop, but it just didn't work out.
I think you're right. He can check Sick Kid here, so he'll have that. For those of you watching at home who don't know this already, there are bombs available at the shop in the cave just off of Lake Hylia, which is much, much closer to Link's house.
Mm-hmm, yeah. Oh, Chad actually pointing out, yeah, that one bomb that phased through the guard and didn't kill him. That is coming back to haunt him right now.
Well, regardless, JSR is going to head through that escape sequence anyways. He's going to be a bit behind AA at this point, but AA making his way up the tower.
And the interesting thing here is that AA is obviously, he's going to be Aghanim, he's going to have, because he knows that he has to be Aghanim at some point. JSR2 does not have that intel yet, and he's probably not going to get that intel about the other glove until he gets the boots. So we're probably going to see him go to Dark World after this.
Yeah, it could be a while before JSR ends up doing Ega Tower if he instead decides, okay, I want to search Sahasrara, Eastern Palace, Akina's Cave, and any other breadcrumbs he gets taken on there.
Oh, wait, he doesn't have the hammer. My bad. I forgot they didn't have the hammer yet. You're right.
And indeed, JSR is going to save and quit out of there, go back to Sanctuary, and looks like he's going to take the trip up Death Mountain. Meanwhile, AA has nicely just bounced through all of Ega Tower, taken everything out, and is going to go into that Aghanim's fight. Chat, if you want to get a guess in for how many blue balls of terrible non-progression Aghanim's going to throw out, now's your chance. I'm going to bet 2.
I'm going to say 3.
Oh, I see a couple 15s in chat. What did these
Wow,
runners do
20?
to you, chat?
56?
Well, if it gets all the way up to 20, if it goes beyond 15, the runners are actually doing something wrong.
Yeah, wow. Meanwhile, JSR got a little trolled with the dead rock up there. Could not get through that little passage.
That's right, just an arrow upgrade from the old man. I believe AA is at 2 blue balls so far.
An interesting little fact about the blue energy ball attack is that in the last tournament, the randomizer was programmed so that the runners would never get a blue energy ball attack at all. Since then, they actually added the blue balls back into the logic, but it's controlled in a way so both runners will experience the same RNG. So if they both have a perfect fight, they're going to experience the same number of the blue energy ball attacks. So
that's right. We like random in our randomizer, but we like to keep it consistently random. We did see a map check from AA. We saw the green pendant at Pod. We saw other pendants at Thieves Town and Misery Mire. And I think the other red crystal was down in Ice Palace.
Ooh, interesting, interesting.
So that ice rod they picked up early on, definitely required for Turtle Rock today.
Mm-hmm, definitely. An AmazingAmpharos heading straight to Pod. Do not blame him, though, just because as soon as you get to the Dark World, this is, at this point, the only place where he can logically even go at this point, aside from maybe Catfish.
Yeah, so, given the choice of Pod versus Catfish, I'm going to Pod every single day.
Yeah, definitely. Possibility for more items. But it is kind of interesting that this is the play just because of how Game 2 went down, because Pod was definitely what determined it. So even though, like, the reason he came here is because there was no really other place to go, now he's not going to have to worry about making an early Pod play in this particular seed because he's here already.
That's right. You know, AA has a couple spots open to him, Death Mountain, Akina's Cave, but I'm sure Pod is weighing heavily on his mind after the last one.
Mm-hmm, for sure.
JSR, our first runner we see in Eastern Palace, finds a bottle so far.
And from AA, we're going to be seeing a lot of keys at first. Palace of Darkness is kind of known for getting a lot of keys at first, and then at some point kind of getting the items a little bit later on once you have access to all the different rooms. A lot of people opt to call it the Mullet Mansion because of that.
Name works out well enough.
Yep, all business in the front and party in the back.
Taking out the mini Helmosaur with a spin attack, which I wasn't aware would get through his helmet, but now we know.
Okay, there is just one chest left for JSR2 to check in here. Meanwhile, AA is going to be checking a number of chests down here. And also get some rupees for potential... oh, there's the boots! We have the boots.
Well, this is a race. Our runners do need to go fast, but for AA, that's going to mean he can get his Titan's mitts right away if he wants to. And that's the rest of the Dark World access.
Yeah, pretty much. Still, though, that hammer is still being looked for, and that hammer does block a lot of things. It blocks a number of dungeons on the outside and on the inside, and there are some portals that cannot be used until you have that hammer. Finding the silvers also in Palace of Darkness as well.
Silver's in Eastern, I think that was, because AA picked up the flute. Oh no, I have that
No.
backwards.
Yeah, I was going to say, I was like... I definitely saw that in the pod darkroom.
JSR did get the flute, regardless of where I was confused about.
It's okay. I've made a mistake too, so...
But finding those boots is going to be a huge break for AA, not just because he can get that Titan's Mitt now, but, you know, without boots, JSR might not be checking Lumberjack and won't know that Aghanim's required for quite some time.
That is very true. If he runs into that hammer really, really soon, that could be really, really bad, because then he'd be going through the normal Dark World progression checks, and then it may be like, yeah, he can gamble on pot early. We saw him do that before, but still, all the other stuff open, and it might be a while before he goes back there, so he does not want to see a hammer right now.
No. AA did find Bombos underneath the Bonk Rocks. Small chance that's required. And we did see a Desert Ledge check from JSR, just being 50 rupees tonight. And it looks like AA is going to head straight into the Dark World at the Village of Outcasts.
Yeah, that being probably one of the only portals I'd rather have the mitts over the hammer for, just because you hate kind of going that long way around just to get to that portal. It's nice just to have the mitts just to go straight up from Kakariko to get there.
All right. JSR fans, I have some good news for you. Looks like he has made the call. He's going to Aga Tower. I think at this point it was actually the only spot he had left, but he is making that play now.
He is, and again, this is kind of what I mentioned earlier. At some point, he would get thrust into the Aga situation anyway, and then over time, once he gets the boots, which if he finishes this, pod is going to be a pretty immediate play for him. He's going to immediately get the Titan's mitts right after that, so not going to really waste a whole lot of time. It was just nice for AA to have that info when he did get it.
That's right. I definitely say AA is ahead right now, but you know, that's less because of the early Aga play, and I think a bit more because of that problem JSR had with the bombs in Escape. AA does take a death at an unfortunate spot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that bomb situation in Escape was definitely very unfortunate. Just not a situation you see really at all happen right there.
And front of Skull Woods not having anything yet for AmazingAmpharos. Just the big key. He's going to set up a bomb jump here.
And after he grabs that small key, he's just going to bonk right back over, and he's probably going to end up checking the last item he can get in Skullwoods right now, in this kind of secluded skull that leads to the boss. Or the boss area, anyway.
That's right, and assuming he doesn't get the hammer, I expect we'll still see him make the play into Thieves Town. But that could be, you know, something that gives him a bit of anxiety if he's worried about that big chest.
Yeah, at this point, those Gibdos hit for a lot of damage with only working with green mail right now, so have to be very, very careful. And yeah, just be careful with taking damage. Getting the bug catching that as the final item. No, has he gotten all the items now, or is that the first
I think
one?
that was only the first.
Okay, so there is another item. We're not going to be able to see that, though, until later on when the Fire Rod is acquired.
Oh, chat's correcting
Oh,
us. There was a
okay.
big 20 in there as well.
Okay, thank you, chat.
Shoutouts to chat for being chatiful. And just a heart container on the Bumper Cave ledge. AA not interested in the time for that. And C-shaped house holding 20 rupees for AmazingAmpharos. No hammer just yet.
Yeah, before stepping into Thieves Town, probably going to check some of the very close item locations, see if you can maybe draw out that hammer. Like you said, it's always not a good thing to have that big chest in Thieves Town just laying around there with the possibility of it having something. It may not even come into play, but it's, again, just not something you want to have on your mind, especially in a race like this.
Well, there's a Master Sword in the Bombable Hat for AA. Not going to be too helpful for the boss of Thieves Town for Blind, but, you know, could pay off handsomely when he's dealing with all those other enemies.
Yeah, for sure. You almost have to realize, going back to the vanilla game, by this point when you enter Dark World, you have the Master Sword, so when you're stuck with those seeds that kind of stick you with Fighter Sword for a while, it could be really, really difficult to navigate around the Dark World with those enemies just taking so many hits, and some enemies just being able to move around that really dinky range that the Fighter Sword had. Just 20 rupees at the digging game.
And it looks like JSR is skipping pod entirely for the moment, making the play straight to Catfish. Maybe a bit worried that he's lost some time earlier and trying to make that up the best he can.
I think it'd be kind of amazing if this turned out to be Hammer, actually.
AA giving the Smith the world tour to the south, getting a piece of heart from the Grove, and AA has in fact skipped Thieves Town entirely for the moment, not wanting to do that till he gets the hammer.
Well, he's not a Quake fish today, but he is an ether fish, so we have the ether medallion.
Almost vanilla from Catfish.
Almost. And that very well could come into play. We do not know what the medallion is for Turtle Rock yet.
Well, Hype Cave, not so hype anymore in current versions. We know that, but at least it has the Canis to Mario today.
That's right, and that cane will be required, unlike the last seed that we saw in game number 2. So that is good they have that. They will need that to gain entrance into Turtle Rock, along with the 50 or so other items you need to get into Turtle Rock. But okay, I'm exaggerating. It's only like 4 you need, but still.
It's about 47, I think, to be specific.
Oh, okay, okay. I'm glad we have like a little ballpark to work with.
So AA taking that Smith for a giant 2. We're checking Kingstown, or King's Tomb, sorry. Only finding bombs. JSR heading into pod.
Maybe Kingstown was stolen by all the thieves, so it's Thievestown now, and the king had to move over to the tomb instead.
Let's go with that.
Mm-hmm.
That was absolutely the intention. All right, AA going to return that Smith after taking him on a giant trip around the world. We're going to see in just a minute what it has.
Just some arrows.
Well, at least JSR, or I'm sorry, AA found or cleared off the rest of those locations along the way. Gonna head back to the Dark World now, as JSR is making his way through pod, and is eventually gonna get those boots.
That's right, and I imagine right after you get those, and after he kind of finishes his initial sweep of Palace of Darkness, he's going to save and quit. He's probably going to go to Bonk Rocks, and then he's going to realize, hey, you know, I've beaten Aghanim. Maybe there's something in that tree, and that's probably how that's going to go. So AA is finally stepping into Thievestown. Unfortunately, does not have the hammer yet, but again, there's a possibility the big chest might not even come into play, so...
Or, even more tantalizingly, there's a possibility we'll find hammer in here somewhere.
That is also very true.
AA finds the mushroom in Thievestown. And there's the boots for JSR. So I saw someone in chat point out, you know, what if the next progression item is in Misery Mire? Because, you know, between the two runners, we've got the access for that right now. And if it turns out, you know, that's the Ether Medallion, and there's some progression in there, AA's lead is going to start shrinking pretty quickly.
Yeah, that is a very good point. And I've seen a couple of seeds where that hammer has been in Misery Mire, so this can very well be a case of that right there.
Now, of course, if it's the Quake Medallion or even just the Bombos Medallion, things go entirely the other way, and JSR suddenly can't get into Mire, we can see things shift around a lot more.
Yeah, of course. That's pretty much Randomizer for you, though. You just never know what the seed is going to give you until you start working with it. We do find the mirror in Thievestown. JSR does get the Bombos Medallion. I forgot that the Bombos Medallion was there, so he will have that as well. 2 of the medallions covered for Misery and Mire if there is something there.
And JSR is going to get those mitts. That mirror opens up some interesting stuff because now we see Tower of Hera open. And with now either hammer or hookshot, Eastern Death Mountain, all of it is open to these runners.
Yeah, and Alucard 2004 bringing up a very good point. There could be a hammer in Swamp Palace. There's a 1 chest possibility, but that could happen.
JSR pausing for a bit to think about his next move, realizing, yes, I do want to go to the town.
Meanwhile, we're going to see the blind fight from AmazingAmpharos right here.
So if you haven't seen this fight done recently, and you are wondering why we said the Master Sword didn't give you a huge boost, it's because no matter what weapon you use, each phase of blind is always 3 hits, be it Fighter's Sword, Golden Sword, Cane of Samaria blocks, everything's always just 3 times 3 hits.
And blind, giving the red pendant. So that red pendant is not going to necessarily help in terms of progression through the main game here, because we need 7 crystals, the pendants. Unless there's something on the pedestal, we do not need those pendants. But still, sometimes, especially with a dungeon like Thieves Town, where you can access almost every item in there, it's advisable to check, even if it is a pendant dungeon in this version of the logic. So that is why we saw that completion from him.
Absolutely. Oh, AA turning around, realizing he has the cane, he has the mushroom, he's got the Dark World access with Mirror. We're going to see a fake powder here.
All right.
Taking that cape out to drain his magic as quickly as he can.
And then when it's empty, he's going to switch to the cane, use it, very quickly switch to the
wave of the magic wand.
And there we go. That's how the fake powder glitch works.
$20 for the magic trick. Unfortunately not going to work, but I always love seeing that fake powder glitch, especially because it's so new.
Yeah, it definitely is. If you've seen a lot of people do the one trick where you can basically knock blocks out of the way with the mirror, it's kind of like the same idea, where it's just like you're using one item that can't technically be used, but because you're doing something else and because the mushroom is on the same spot in the item inventory as the powder, it thinks you're using the powder at that point. So it's kind of a neat little way to trick the game into thinking you have something that you don't actually do.
Alright, so AA heading over to Agina's cave. A long ways out of the way, especially without book to go into Desert Palace here.
And since JSR is working through Thieves Town, we do know he'll get the mirror. So if he does make that Mire play, he's going to be able to, check that checkerboard cave and then also the desert play as well.
AA doing that neat little trick where you can talk to the priest, refill your health, and then just mirror to go back to the front door of the sanctuary.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a long time since we've seen a runner use that. And looks like AA is going to head up Death Mountain here. Unfortunately, not going to find anything in the areas JSR's been, but Hera is open.
It is, and there's a possibility that that hammer could be in Tower of Hera as well. Then with hammer, the rest of Death Mountain, or at least the light world Death Mountain, could be explored.
Well, these runners have Titan's Mitts, so all of Dark World Death Mountain's open too, and, you know, if they want it, potentially even an early dip into T-Rock.
That is true. The reason I didn't really say Dark World is that they don't have the hookshot yet, so they couldn't take full advantage of Hookshot Cave at this current point. But yeah, that is a good point.
And JSR going to take on this blind fight as well. Again, just 9 hits required. And a very clean fight from JSR's end, as AmazingAmpharos enters the Tower of Hera. 46 minutes in, and neither runner has a crystal just yet.
Thankfully, we will be seeing a change to that statistic in just a few minutes, because AmazingAmpharos isn't in Hera, which is a crystal dungeon, so we will be seeing a crystal from his end. But yeah, very late crystals here. Just with the crystal setups, though, it's not too surprising. We couldn't do any of the Light World dungeons because we didn't have the one item to get to them, or to at least get through them. And yeah, a lot of the accessible Dark World dungeons were pendants, so very late crystals. But usually in a seed like this, if you don't really get a lot of crystals at the beginning, they kind of start coming to you really fast as we get to the end game. So that is one advantage.
Yeah, I think you're right. We're going to see that kind of switch, and these runners are start going to get them very quickly. Those words don't work.
So we do actually know where all the medallions are now. AmazingAmpharos did just pick up the Quake Medallion, so all the medallions are accounted for. Just neither runner has all of them. They're missing at least one of them in some fashion.
That's completely right. I expect we'll see JSR pick up that Quake pretty soon. I think Death Mountain is also the play from his position.
Yeah.
Fortunately, he can skip the slow carrying that chest. With that flute, he can just carry it to 0.7 and keep going.
Although, you know, this is kind of an interesting situation we have right now. JSR does have an opportunity to at least check what a pendant dungeon is. And in the last race, he did go to pot early. If he goes to Mire early, if there's an item there, that could be like almost the same kind of scenario we have in Game 2. But I still think, like you said, probably a Death Mountain play is more likely.
That's right, just 20 rupees from turning in the mushroom. But JSR's going to pick up some potions as AA gets the first crystal of the match 48.5 minutes in, and he has to go back in for the basement to do that tile room waiting game.
So yeah, if you want to go make yourself a drink, if you want to, if you need to make a call, need to do your taxes or something, this is a good time to do it. Just gonna be waiting around on this peg until all the floor tiles go away.
Alright, so we're 49 minutes into this seed, and I know there's something chat always starts asking around this point. That question, that eternal question on everyone's mind of what can be on the pedestal. Well, Slim Kirby, what do we see for those options?
Well, let's see. So just kind of looking at the items that we'd ultimately need. Bow cannot be on the pedestal since Palace of Darkness is a pendant. Fire Rod could very well be on the pedestal, I believe, looking at what we have right now. Yeah, I believe it could be. So Fire Rod could be on the pedestal. We know Kane isn't, because A has Kane. Hookshot's still necessary. And yeah, I believe Hookshot could also be on the pedestal at this point, too. So, Hookshot and Fire Rod for sure. Hammer
I'm
can't
inclined
be.
to agree with that.
Yeah, I think just Fire Rod and Hookshot at the moment.
Shoutouts again, though, to our tracker Bolt, who's saying, "Look, we all know pedestal is going to be bombs, and given what we saw earlier in this seed, I think that's the safe bet to make."
Yeah, Alucard also making a good point. Book could also be on the pedestal as well. We may need that at some point for an item, so that's a possibility. And yeah, the hammer is needed for Palace of Darkness, so the hammer cannot be on the pedestal as well.
All right, chat, there you go. There was your analysis into what could be on the pedestal. Personally, I don't think we'll see a pedestal seed here, but I know they wanted to talk about it.
Yeah, fair enough, fair enough.
A is going to check the graveyard ledge, but JSR going to do Mire, going to do Desert. Well, going to see if he can get into Mire.
He can.
That is
It's
Bombos.
Bombos. Okay, so once again, we do have kind of another Game 2 situation here. Like, AmazingAmpharos is in the lead with Crystals at the moment. But checking a Pendant Dungeon, if JSR decides to commit to that and the Hammer's in there, for example, even the Fire Rod could be in there, that could be huge. And it could be almost a replay of what happened in last match.
That's right. Looks like AA is going to do Catfish and pick up that Ether Medallion. You know, obviously JSR is going to finish Desert, which he can do right now. I wouldn't be surprised to see him go into Mire knowing that it's a gamble. I think he's aware of how bottlenecked this seed was. He's aware of just how much time. Oh, there's the hammer!
That's one of them.
JSR knows just how much time he lost in Escape, and he knows he has to make some plays and take some risks to catch up.
Yeah, and like earlier, I just said Hammer and Fire Rod. Honestly, Bow could be there, Hookshot could be there, so there's still plenty of items that can still be in Mire as well. I really, really want to see that at this point.
So, you know, I expect AA is going to head into Eastern fairly soon. He's running out of locations. From there, he'll get the Flute. He'll be able to do Desert. But, you know, JSR is going to be able to clear all of East and Dark Death Mountain in one go. That same go that he went to Tower of Hera with. That's a big time save for him.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with that completely.
Does it make up all the time he's lost? I don't think so. But does it put these runners a lot closer than they were 30 seconds ago? Yeah.
Definitely, for sure. JSR2 for the Lomno fight, equipping the Ice Rod. Normally you see the Fire Rod for this, but unfortunately the Fire Rod is not in either of our runners' possessions. But the Ice Rod works just as well, just a little slower than the Fire Rod, but still.
Look where AA is going. AA isn't doing Eastern Palace.
Ooh.
AA is going into Ice Palace. He's got Bombos. He can clear this out.
But he does not have the he does not have the hammer, so he can't finish it, unfortunately.
Oh no, AA.
This is quite the gamble.
I guess the best case scenario is he finds the hook shot or he finds the bow, but it's not going to make up the fact that this is a guaranteed double dip at this point.
Yeah, and JSR2 already has the hammer, so when he goes to Ice Palace, he'll be able to do it in one shot. So yeah, this will be a time sink, even if he does get something.
Looks like just arrows. Was that in Checkerboard Cave for JSR? So he's going to skip out on those. Maybe an arrow upgrade, but JSR going to make the big play into Meyer. This could end up just being a time sink as well, but JSR knows he has to make gambles.
He does, and honestly, I do like this play. Like, even if you don't go all the way to Vitreous, like, it's a case where you can honestly get the items in Meyer pretty fast, and if you lock out, you can have the items here in, like, less than a minute or two. So, if he banks on that possibility, he could just kind of treat this as just any other overworld location, but first gonna step in the front of Desert Palace. I guess he did not get all the items in here.
I guess not. That's right. The play made sense from JSR, right? You pick up the hammer, then you go beat Landmo, and if Landmo has your second item, you don't have to check right side at all.
Mm-hmm. I always love watching like these routing plays from the runners, though. It's really just kind of interesting to see like how much thought they put into stuff like this. It's like stuff I honestly wouldn't have even thought of myself, so it's really fun to watch them make these just little overworld maneuvers and movements. It's just really, really awesome.
That's right. As we said before, there's a reason these two are in the top four, and so close for this bronze medal match.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, AA using Bombos in the Freezor room. Gonna get one chest here. I missed the contents of the first chest, but the second one is just a piece of heart.
Unfortunately, he is running out of chests here. I'm just going to be able to check 1, 2... Yeah, I think just 2 more after this. 3 if he does get the big key.
And chat calling me out on my timing as I complimented JSR and then he walked into a pit. Look, you might try, but you're not going to deter me from saying nice things about these runners, chat. Looks like AA is just going to save and quit out of Ice Palace.
Trying to think of what his next move is going to be. Was kind of at the spawn point location selector for a minute there, trying to figure out where he's going to go next. Looks like he is going back to the village.
I'm not even sure what AA has in the village. Even if he heads into Dark World here, I'm not sure what his options are. Unfortunately, Eastern is the play for him right now, I think.
Mm-hmm. It definitely is at this point.
It's got that flute that eventually leads to your hammer, but AA heading south, I thought we saw him do... Oh, he hasn't done the Circle of Bushes, the cave south of the Grove.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
He cleared out Thieves Town after doing South Dark World.
And it looks like we are going to Vitreous on JSR2's screen.
So nothing out of Meyer for JSR2 just yet.
Yeah, it will be kind of unfortunate if Vitreous does not turn up with anything, because then this will be kind of a... I mean, you can't really even call it a waste yet, because, I mean, there could still be that fire rod on pedestal, as we talked about earlier, so... you know, this could amount to something, even if this is not the item that is the progression. But you know, while he was doing this pendant dungeon, wasn't getting any crystals.
Meanwhile, AmazingAmpharos, so reluctant to go to Eastern Palace, he is instead preferring to check Swamp Palace,
Oh wow!
going for that one chest at the front. You know, the only chest not blocked by the hammer. Not gonna have the hammer for him today.
No, it's not.
As AA manages to stand on the chest and open it up, JSR is going to head into the Vitreous fight. Gonna break up the Cape strats, but this is not an easy fight with Cape and Master Sword. He can do these dashes, and his magic's gonna run out before any of these eyes die.
But he's just gonna do it again.
Ah, that's what the green potion's for. Meanwhile, AA only picked up the rupees in Swamp Palace. JSR with the magic play. That's a great way to keep taking out Vitreous when you don't have the Tempered or Butter Sword.
Yeah, and I honestly love watching the dash strats on Vitreous. I know they're not the fastest strats in the world, but it's just so fun to just watch the runners dash through them like that.
Oh yeah, Vitreous gives you so much trouble in so many scenarios. It's nice to just get that cathartic release.
Just a heart piece, but we also get that blue pendant too. So again, we'll see if those pendants will lead to something. But as far as items in Mire, we did not get anything.
No, we didn't. Now AA heading finally back to Eastern Palace. Gonna come at it from the Dark World just in case he gets, you know, the hammer or the bow out of this. But we know he's only gonna find the flute here.
So now yeah, as I expected, JSR2 going to Death Mountain, making the play you talked about earlier. Gonna clear out Tower of Hera, then gonna go to the east side of Death Mountain, which honestly, very good chance for progression to be over there. That's the one kind of high volume area we haven't seen yet. And then right after that, he can go straight in the dark Death Mountain and see what's on that side of the mountain as well.
That's right, and now, where was the Quake Medallion? Because AA has picked that up and JSR hasn't. Well, that is in Tower of Hera.
Yes, it is in Tower of Hera. Yep.
Yeah, so JSR is going to be able to open Turtle Rock at the very least and check that first chest. Depending on what else he finds, he may be able to go through and, you know, it's not out of the realm of possibility Fire Rod is locked in Turtle Rock somewhere.
Yeah, we could be having one of those trolley scenarios where we just get all the right key setups, and then we end up on Laser Bridge to find the Fire Rod, and we have to go all the way back down for a key or something just to get in the last door. That would be really, really unfortunate.
Alright, so both these runners at this point retracing each other's footsteps through Lightworld dungeons. If you like what you see out of these runners, be sure to give them a follow. They are great guys. They're racing this game all the time. I enjoy watching them, I know.
Yeah, definitely. They've put on so many great shows in these tournament races, just in getting to this point, and then just in general with all the other Link to the Past goodness that happens on the Twitch scene on a pretty regular basis, so definitely check them out.
Alright, so AA picks up that flute, saves and quits straight out of there. He's gonna have to turn that in, and we'll probably head to Desert immediately after.
I can definitely see that play. And JSR2Gamers has his second crystal an hour and 4 minutes into this run. And again, you start thinking about the last run, game 2. At this point, they were in Ganon's tower at this point in the run in game 2. And in this one, they only have 2 crystals at this moment. Just the difference in seeds that we have.
Yeah. And now here's the interesting thing. You know, both these runners have made some really good plays, but both have, you know, lost a lot of time relative to the other. JSR, of course, with that escape play. AA spending so long before he went to Eastern. I would not be surprised if both runners right now thought they were way behind in this race.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And again, just going back to that last seed, like just with how fast that last seed is and the mistakes they've kind of made in this run, they got to be thinking they're way behind. So I know exactly what you mean right now.
And they may just decide, you know, okay, I'm going to try to make up that time. I'll try to power through. And they may decide, oh, if I want to win this match, if I want to be 3rd overall in the tournament, I might have to make a big gamble. We'll see which way they end up going. I expect going to do desert right here.
And we are about to see some new item locations now. JSR2 going over to the east side of Death Mountain. I'm sure we'll see something over here, so something will definitely be obtainable at least. I kind of hope so, and probably wouldn't be out of the realm of possibility to see that Turtle Rock gamble like you talked about.
No, I think that is something we'll see. AA picking up his hammer. JSR ducks into Paradox Cave briefly, but then steps back out.
I think it was the Dead Rocks. I think they were kind of blocking his path.
I mean, those Dead Rocks are the worst enemy in the entire Zelda series.
Oh, for sure, definitely.
And chat points out, yes, bombs on the floating island, bombs everywhere. This seed is all bombs.
So yeah, JSR2 is going to open Turtle Rock, and now he's going to do all the checks in both Dark and normal East Death Mountain. He's going to use the mirror to kind of traverse from both regions and kind of keep that warp point going. So if he does make that Turtle Rock play, he can just very easily get right back to the Dark World without having to lift that stone and go back the other way.
That's right. Really clever routing from JSR for doing this. Unfortunately, we don't find Hookshot in Hookshot Cave.
That just means we're going to see it right here in the Super Bunny Cave. I'm sorry for lying, we have more bombs.
I have to ask, what did you expect, really?
I don't know. I thought I could get one right at some point.
So yeah, this works out very well for JSR2. Going to be able now to just do Spiral Cave with the boots, spin through that, come back up through Paradox Cave, and as you mentioned, go straight into that warp.
Another interesting thing that does come into play right now for JSR2, and technically AA when he gets back up there, they do have the cape. So Spike Cave is well within logic right now, so there could always be something in there as well.
Oh, that's a great point. Probably something we'll see them do, you know, after their dip into Turtle Rock on their way out.
Ooh.
JSR does find Tempered Sword.
Unfortunately, that does kind of kill the dream I talked about at the beginning of this race. So they are going to have Tempered. At some point, they're going to get the bow. They're going to have at least the same basic Ganon fight that they had in the game 2. So
That's right. Now the question is, where does AA go from here? Looks like he's headed back to the Dark World. Are we going to see another Meyer check?
Well, the first thing we are going to see is Checkerboard Cave at the very least. And unfortunately, East Death Mountain not really paying off either. So,
No. And it looks like AA is going to head into Misery Mire, which we know did not have any progression other than potentially that medallion that he gets out of the end. So this is going to give JSR a big boost.
yeah, definitely.
And I expect we'll see AA clear out the whole thing. I think AA doesn't like to go into dungeons unless he can clear out the whole thing. We saw that with his Thieves Town play, with his Eastern play. JSR gets the big key in the first chest of Turtle Rock and has to nope right out of there.
That's right, and he does not even mirror out to check Spike Cave. Honestly, this could be an Ice Palace play now, because he does have the hammer, so he can beat Ice Palace at this point.
I think that's the play, and it looks like he's going there.
Okay, so yeah, this is the play we're going to see.
Now, AA already found a couple of items in Ice Palace, so the options for progression in there are pretty slim. But if Volt's done his work correctly on the tracker, which I think he has, Ice Palace is going to get them into the pyramid.
Oh, that is very true. Yeah, so that will be another location to check. Unfortunately, JSR2 sets off that Bombos a little early, does not quite get the Ice Golem on the first go, but does get him on the second go anyway. Oh, chat making another good point. Yeah, with the hammer, Swamp is back in the logic for potential item locations.
It is, and you know that's a frustrating one. It takes so long to open up, and you can only check the front half without that hookshot. If hookshot's there, it'll be near the end of their list.
Mm-hmm, definitely, and that could very well be the case. Chat asking if Skull Woods has been checked. Yes, it has. Both items have been found in Skull Woods, so we're not going to be seeing any plays back there until they get that fire rod to complete it.
So AA figuring out the left side of Meyer doesn't have any progression, anything else useful. He's going to continue checking. It does look at this point like he's going to go all the way through to Vitreous, as JSR making his way into the depths of Vice. JSR looks, counts his items. I believe he has 2 already from this dungeon. Third one being the Bloomerang in the iced tea room, also known as the jelly room.
And we are actually getting ready to see a bomb jump right here.
Now, I think this bomb jump actually is a sequence break.
Yes.
Normally, you're supposed to cover that room with hookshot, and if you bomb jump across that, you can do that. The logic won't let you wreck yourself on it, but anything you find on the right side is not in the logic.
Yes, that is very, very true.
Now, it's very likely both of our runners, AA, if he ends up doing this, and JSR right now, they're going to know this is a sequence break. They're going to be aware of the implications there, but, you know, it's going to point to this fact that Ice Palace, it looks like, really not value beyond the ability to clear it out. Now, interestingly, that means if the big key was locked behind the hookshot, we're not going to see hookshot at the Pyramid Ferry or behind any progression at the Pyramid Ferry. So hookshot is still somewhere out there in the world, and at this point, the only spot I can think of is Swamp Palace. Or, as chat's pointing out to me, Spike Cave, which JSR neglected to do after he got locked out of Turtle Rock.
Yeah, that's right. He did end up skipping that location. And I believe there's also a few other overworld locations that AA has gotten that JSR2 hasn't. I please correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't remember seeing JSR2 go to King's Tomb.
That's correct.
So
and
yeah,
chat's pointing out, you know, we do still have the pegs, the hammer pegs.
Oh yeah, that's
house.
right.
We do still have that big chest in Thieves Town.
Oh yeah, that is very, very correct.
And that one's amusing because if the hookshot is in there, that's a forced double dip into Thieves Town.
Definitely is.
So AA finishes up the Vitreous fight, also using the Cape Strats. Gets that medallion. JSR is going to pick up the map from Vitreous and pick up his, that looks like his third crystal for the race. An hour and 18 minutes in. This seed is just agonizing for these runners.
It really, really is. Honestly, like is this seed honestly what you predicted at any sort of prediction for a seed like this? Like I definitely was not expecting something like this.
Well, it's certainly putting the runners through their paces and making sure they understand all parts of this game if they're going to get the third place in the tournament.
Definitely.
And it looks like JSR is going to go straight into Swamp.
He is going to be able to check a few more things that AA was unable to check earlier since he does have the hammer. But as you mentioned earlier, really just the front half of Swamp. If he does not find that hook shot, the back half will still be unable to be checked. But first...
You're right, it's not Swamp.
First, we're going to see the Pyramid Ferry.
Alright, so how many bomb drops do we have left in this seed? Do we still have 2 that they can find in the pyramid?
At this point, I would not be surprised to see that be the result. Like, I wouldn't be even surprised if the game goes out of logic and gives 2 bomb drops anyway. Yes, you can mirror with the bomb, and just love from the Pyramid Fairy.
A lot of love and a little bit more love to make up for the fact that they had to use a bomb to get in there.
Okay, I see what the game's telling them to do. It's telling them to embrace the power of bombs, I guess.
So it looks like JSR's headed back to the Dark World. We'll probably see him do those locations we mentioned. You know, Hammer Pegs, King's Tomb. I think JSR hasn't done the Graveyard Ledge. JSR hasn't even done Skull Woods at this point.
Oh, that is correct. He has not done this yet.
You know, now that you mention it, there's a lot of overworld stuff AA took care of that JSR hasn't done yet, and although JSR's got that crystal lead, AA is going to inch up on him slowly here.
Yeah, it is. And if AA does mirror out of Turtle Rock as opposed to saving and quitting, and he goes check Spike Cave, that could be huge if there is something on there. But it's crazy to think that, like, right now, for both of our runners, they're in a position where, I mean, except for Ice Palace for AA, but they're in a position where if they want to check dungeons, they're going to have to go in there without an item to complete it. So they're just going to they have to kind of get used to the idea of double dipping, especially in this version of the logic.
That's right. And you mentioned Ice Palace for AA. Well, he already went in there even though he couldn't complete it. That's right. Just what this seed has rolled for them.
Mm-hmm.
JSR gets off that bomb jump, but doesn't get any serious value.
JSR2 does have a slightly easier time with that room than what AA did. Just having the Cane of Samaria allows you to put a block on that button without having to push that statue around.
Yeah, a small time save, but, you know, not really compensation for the fact that you had to go all the way to the back half of Skull Woods. AA making the play into Turtle Rock now. Gonna get locked after that first chest. And, you know, I really hope he goes over to Spike Cave. I just want to see, at this point, what's in there, even if it's not anything good.
He is mirroring out. He's not saving and quitting. But I think he also... Doesn't he still have Dark Death Mountain to check, too? Oh, no, he did. He already checked that. So, yeah, he is going to Spike Cave.
That's right. This could be the cave that just breaks the seed back open for these runners. There's not a lot left for progression they need. Making sure to switch to that cape early so he doesn't get caught up by the fact that it takes a second before you can use it.
Bombs. Oh.
You know, I appreciate your enthusiasm, Slim Kirby. I would like to retroactively say that chest holds bombs. It's much more interesting at that point.
Yeah.
If it's any consolation, JSR picked up bombs, but we knew those would be there.
Yeah, we did.
Oh no, JSR making that same play, it looks like.
Yeah.
Getting blocked by a dead rock. He's gonna have to save and quit just to get on the other side of that doorway. Hey, whatever gets you through Death Mountain when dead rocks are about.
I think that was the faster play instead of waiting, so it works.
Oh, it absolutely was. And AA is going to show us hammer pegs, which we haven't seen so far. And 300 rupees. Did you know, Slim?
I think I know where you're going with this, but go ahead.
What can you do with 300 rupees at a shop?
You can definitely buy 60 bombs.
That's right.
Okay, we're going back into Thieves Town. Dude, check that big chest that's at the very end of here.
We're getting down to the wire. I think we're down to that chest and Swamp Palace.
I'm wondering if this is the play JSR2 is making as well.
I mean, we might see him do the hammer pigs first as well, but
Yeah,
I can't think of anything else he has left to do in this area. Looks like JSR is going to do those hammer pegs first. A reasonable play considering it's a lot faster to check.
Yeah, and at this point, like, I don't think we've gotten any new items since the hammer that have progressed the seed forward, so this is honestly just a good location to check at this point anyway, just for breadcrumb logic.
And
there's the bow.
that's no hook shot, but that is a bow.
Yeah. That will finish up Eastern Palace. That'll allow more progression through pod.
That's right. So this seed not giving them everything they need just yet. Still can't complete Swamp, but you know, a couple more items here and there. And Chad, if you're hoping for the hookshot to be somewhere interesting, somewhere that starts with a P, well, that dream is still alive.
Yeah, that is right. And honestly, this is good too, because that will give the last pendant for Palace of Darkness. And if that fire rod is on the pedestal, that will be really, really good.
That's a great point. I've been talking about the hookshot. We've still got the fire rod these runners have to find.
Oh yeah, and green pendant too. And yeah, right after they complete that, they can check the green pendant as well. That could also be something as well.
So JSR is going to get the bow here, and almost certainly he's going to make the same play. He's going to go to the eastern part of the world. At this point, you know, I think these runners are very close. JSR may be having just a tiny lead, because when AA goes back to Ice Palace, he gets to do that entirely in go mode.
Okay, it's probably not going to happen, but what if green pendant leads to one of the items, a fire rod or hook shot, and then pedestal leads to the other one?
That seems about right at this point.
Yeah, that or, you know, bombs, but yeah. And JSR2 actually checking pod first. Again, they're going to be probably checking both locations anyway, but interesting how they decided to just kind of do a interdimensional high five here in two different dungeons.
Yeah, I think JSR might be trying to save a mirror trip or two. Wanting to get the green pendant before being back in the light world, but it's pretty
Okay.
close between them.
Yeah, for sure.
And AA, finishing off the Armos fight, brings himself up to 3 crystals. Jeez. What a slow and plodding seed for these runners today.
Yeah, 3 at 1 hour and 30 mark. That's insane.
JSR thinking for a bit, do I check the big chest? No, I'm going to go straight to Helmasaur, and if there's an item there... No, JSR still going for the big chest.
Good call using the cape right there to get past those beetles.
JSR pausing, getting that hammer jump off for the
Fire
fire
rod!
rod!
That's one of them!
So just the hookshot left. AA is going directly to the Helmasaur King boss. And I expect he's going to see that map and realize there's still an item left to get in this dungeon. So it's just the hookshot left.
It is, and hookshot, looking at the... hookshot could also be on the pedestal at this point. So, Pedestal Dream is not dead yet, actually.
No, and, AA, as we've remarked before, is such a thorough runner, does not like to leave any chest unchecked in a dungeon. If he doesn't go back in after beating Helmasaur King, that'll be extremely out of character.
Yeah, for sure.
And just to point out, something that chat's, I think, getting to as well, not only did we have required double dip of Thieves Town, required double dip of Pod and Eastern Palace just to go around all these things to collect the bow.
That is, yeah, definitely. We had all those things had to be done.
And then, of course, the bow finally leading back to the fire rod in the Palace of Darkness. When you take all of that into account and, the understandable reluctance to go into a dungeon you can't clear, I can see why we're at 90 minutes into this seed.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, exactly. Okay, after laying the hammer down on Helmasaur, AA going back in for the fire rod, and JSR2 probably going to mirror back, take care of Eastern, and then after that, probably checking Surat. That guy, the S guy.
Sahasala Samasama.
That sounds about right.
That's right, and that'll be 3 pendants for these runners. They will have the fire rod, so they can complete Skull Woods, and I think we'll see them go and do those. JSR heads back into the dungeon, realizes, hang on, I got my fire rod out of here.
Yeah. And yep, he is going back in, gonna... he was moving the portal. I was like wondering if he was doing that portal, but he was moving it out of the way, so once he finished with the Eastern, he could just walk off the ledge and get to Sashrala a lot faster.
Hey, gonna show us what Sahasrahla is carrying. This could be Go mode right here. Or it could be the book, which just leads to more confusion.
Or a heart piece.
Sahasrahla says, you know what? You double dipped 3 dungeons for me.
Yeah.
I'll give you a quarter of my heart for that work.
Just a quarter. So at this point with the Fire Rod, oh well, AA going back up the Death Mountain. I think he's going right for Turtle Rock right now.
Interesting that he doesn't, clear out Skull Woods, which he knows he can do, and grab that pedestal, which might have the hook shot. He's just going to finish Turtle Rock first.
Interesting play.
Well, from watching AA throughout this tournament, I do know he's a big supporter of doing Turtle Rock as early as you can. And so am I, as I mentioned before the race started. This is just a long way to go to Turtle Rock.
Yeah.
So JSR takes out the Armos Knights. That is 5 crystals for JSR, if I've counted right. No, just 4.
Oh, just 4, yeah, that's right.
But JSR at least can visit Sahasrahla, and we'll see where he goes next. If this is a split between the 2 runners, it'll all come down to who guessed right. If they go the same way, JSR might still have a bit of a lead, just from having Ice Palace done already.
That's really what's separating them right now. And AA taking notice of what items he has. He's going around here the long way. A lot of runners will go the normal way through this, realize they don't have the hook shot to get off easily, and that kind of prolongs this room a little bit. AA immediately realizing, I don't have that hook shot, so definitely taking the correct strats for this room.
That's a thing that catches up so many runners, because, very rare is the seed you go in here without hookshot. JSR, heading into the Dark World, gonna be doing Skull Woods, and probably grabbing that pedestal no matter what's on it afterwards.
Yeah, for sure. So we will be getting a pedestal check, a blind pedestal pull in the last race of the fall tournament.
Oh, but while we were saying that, we missed it on the right side of Turtle Rock. Hookshot.
Hookshot. Okay. So
AA has entered Go mode in this race. JSR possibly not making that gamble. AA may have the lead unless JSR goes straight to Turtle Rock after taking out Moth.
I imagine he will still go to Turtle Rock just because it's full dungeon clear against a partial dungeon clear. It's what he has now. So Turtle Rock is definitely the smarter play, I think, just in terms of item possibilities. But yeah, we'll have to see. And here we go. What is the blind pedestal pull?
Bombs? 300 rupees.
60 bombs, everybody!
Well, unfortunate for JSR that he doesn't get the hook shot, but thanks to JSR for showing us that anyways and giving us the epic music.
For sure.
He's still going to take out Mothula, so he's going to keep that crystal lead going ahead. And JSR going to take on this Moth fight, tempered Fire Rod with lots of magic shouldn't be a problem.
It's also interesting to note that both of our runners are still working with green mail as well, so we'll be taking some damage whenever it does get hit by Mothula, but with a lot of hearts, it's not a problem. Mothula goes down. There is crystal number 5 for JSR.
That's right. Meanwhile, AA just picks up the red boomerang from inside Turtle Rock. You know, you mentioned they're still on greed mail. It's a good thing the seed's been kind with the health.
Yeah, for sure.
JSR making that common error so many runners do, where you save and quit from the dark world and realize, shoot, I'm still in the dark world.
Yeah. For those who don't know, the reason that happens is whenever you beat Aghanim, it will auto-set the spawn point to the pyramid whenever you're in the dark world in the save and quit. If you do not have Aghanim beaten, or if you have Aghanim beaten and no mirror, then you'll get the common light world 3 selections no matter what.
That's right. Now, JSR did those 3 selections again, kicked Mountain Cave. He is going back up to Turtle Rock. He's the full Turtle Rock behind, but AA's got to clear ice. AA's got to clear out Skullwood still. This is going to be a tight race.
It really is, yeah. Both Ice Palace and Skullwoods will be very, very quick for AA. But honestly, like, Turtle Rock is not really that long either, especially if you're just going straight from the beginning to end. Once he gets that hook shot, which he will find immediately, he's going to do whatever he can to get to the very end, and he's going to have all the keys he needs before he gets to the laser bridge, so he shouldn't be going out of his way for too many chests.
No, this is going to be tight. AA picks up that 4th crystal. You know, I feel like a broken record saying this after hearing everyone say this throughout the tournament, but at this point I feel like it's going to come down to execution.
I mean, it really will. I mean, that's just the facts for this particular race. It will come down to execution. JSR does have a substantial advantage going into this right now with Ice Palace already cleared and Skullwood's already cleared. But AA, no slouch when it comes to execution. He's been showing very, very strong execution throughout the entire tournament, so anything could turn the tables of that advantage he has right now.
And because we missed it last time, there's the hook shot. JSR has entered go mode.
Yep, go mode for both of our runners. Took longer than the entire game 2 took, but they are both in go mode.
So as they again retrace each other's steps, be sure, if you like what you see from these racers, give them a follow. They're always practicing, and I think we can see why. And thanks again, big shout outs to our tracker Volt, who's keeping that HUD at the bottom updated, keeping track of just how few crystals the game has given them after an hour and 43 minutes.
Yeah, really. Ooh, what a nice full magic bottle to get right there as you were lighting the torches in the torch room from Skullwoods.
Yeah, not that AA should have any trouble with this fight, but that'll just make it go faster.
Yeah, for sure. It is kind of interesting, though. Mothula is actually faster with Tempered Sword than Fire Rod. Fire Rod, it's 8 shots with the Fire Rod, assuming the hits actually land. Tempered is only like 4 hits, it looks like, so definitely a faster method of doing that people are not always aware of.
Great point. So AA now cleared out Skull. He only has 2 dungeons left to do. But Ice Palace, even in go mode, is not as fast as just doing the very last rooms of Turtle Rock. So it's JSR with the advantage, having, maybe a minute or 2 of time on AA at this point.
Yeah, I'd say like by the time JSR2 is heading up to Ganon's Tower, AA should be a little more than halfway through whatever Ice Palace, a little more than halfway through Ice Palace at that point. So still very close. Execution can definitely be a big part of it. Ganon's Tower routing can also become a big part of it as well.
Now, if you haven't seen this Trinex fight before and you haven't paid close attention, watch what JSR does here. It's 5 hits per head, and he switches to his Fire Rod before he lands the last 2 hits on the fire head of Trinex. That's because while one head is blowing up, you can't mirror, or you can't pause and use the menu. And that's so that JSR can switch his weapons and keep fighting those heads even as the other one's blowing up. Makes for a very quick fight. Just the kind of thing all these runners learn that sets them apart.
Yeah, it's also a nice thing to do just in case you can prevent the ice head from spewing out the ice on the floor as well. So yeah, very optimal strats for fighting Trinex.
That's right, that ice on the floor is no fun to walk across, and it causes so much lag in the room.
Yeah. Okay, I actually said earlier that by the time JSR goes up to Ganon's Tower, AmazingAmpharos will be halfway through ice. That's looking like that might be the case. Because, yeah, by the time AA gets in the ice, JSR will be making his way to Argus, so...
Now, here's a question that I don't know the answer to. We know they've got 3 and 4 bottles, respectively. How are they doing for potions? Because with only green mail, that's something you start to worry about.
Yeah, that is a very good point. We know that JSR used one of his potions earlier during the Vitreous fight. One thing that could come into play is that they do have the flute and the potion shop, very quick flute warp to get to, so wouldn't be a bad idea to maybe go there just to pick up one, just to have in a just-in-case scenario. Because, yeah, green mail, especially getting into Ganon's Tower and the Ganon fight, could be a problem. But they have a lot of hearts to work with, so they may be banking on that as well.
That's right. If they had powder, I'd say they don't need to worry about it at all, but they won't be able to regen, those 12 or 16 hearts at the top of GT like a lot of runners manage to do. But AA picks up that 6th crystal after a quick Argus fight. Gonna head over to Ice Palace for that final crystal.
Yep, he's going back for his double dip. JSR did not have to go back into that to do that, and that's honestly about the difference, I'd say, between them two. That one Ice Palace gamble that AA made early on.
Yeah, you know, so many just oddities that happened on both sides in this seed have made what was already a tricky seed just kind of really drag out for these runners. Again, I wouldn't be surprised if each of them thinks they're behind the other right now.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this is going to end up being a 2-hour seed, approximately, maybe even more than that. We have not seen a seed. I think there haven't been very many, at the very least, in the bracket stages that have gone on for that long. So this is a bit of a rarity. But again, the items were just that. Like, they were blocked behind double dips. There was a required Aga play. And it was even kind of teasing the pedestal a little bit, too. So it's no surprise this is taking as long as it has been.
All right, so JSR does make it to the Argus fight well before AA has reached Cold Stare, so he's going to have a bit of a lead here. He's going to go for the Silver Arrow strat, just needs one hit, and there it is. Chat, everyone, speed gaming. It's the last time. You know what time it is. Get your guesses into chat.
That's right. There are 22 chests in Ganon's Tower. One of those chests, or I guess just item locations, since one of them isn't a chest. One of those locations has the big key that they are looking for. So in the chat, if you are a subscriber to any of the speed gaming channels, or if you've donated 250 bits to any of the channels, you have a chance to participate in the Ganon's Tower Big Key guessing game, where if you guess the correct answer, or if you are the closest to the correct answer, you can actually be submitted onto the leaderboard. So get those guesses in. I am going with my answer of 8. I try to guess 8 for a lot of my chest locations. What about you? What is your number that you like to go with?
You know, normally I go 14, but today I typed an 8 in the chat 2 seconds after you did. So
Oh, wow.
if it's chest 8, you're going on the leaderboard.
Okay.
And just the usual disclaimer at this point, if by some strange routing decision or difference AA finds that big key first, we're still going to go with JSR's number because he's the one who got into the tower first.
That is correct. Yeah, and AA flying through Ice Palace, like, it seriously felt like he just entered like a few seconds ago, and he's already at Cold Stare, so he made some good work getting through here.
And there goes a Cold Stare fight from AA, expertly cornering for the start of the fight and then finishing everything off. Great job from AA. That is all 10 dungeons cleared, plus Aga Tower, for both runners as they entered GT. JSR doing so at 1 hour 53 minutes 22 seconds. We'll see what the split is on these two runners.
One thing we know for sure, it's a Ganon's Tower Ascent. That is the difference between the two right now. Bombs! We found bombs in the second chest.
Oh, we can't let these runners out of the seed without more bombs.
Yeah, of course not.
Interestingly, JSR, despite getting that early small key, still going left side. But there
it is. Chest number 5. That is our winner today.
If you guessed number 5 for the big key, you have won a spot on the leaderboard. Silent Tremor, congratulations to you for winning that spot in this, the final match of the Link to the Past Randomizer Fall 2017 Open Mode Tournament.
Yes, the final big key guessing game of this tournament, so congratulations for that. Okay, so now it is definitely coming down to execution at this point. Literally, JSR2 going straight to the end, going to be climbing Ganon's tower. He has all the keys he'll need to make it to the very top. He is just going to march right through, because at this point, he has no idea where his opponent is. He's probably surprised that AA hasn't even finished yet, just with how long this has taken. So, yeah, we're going to be... I'm sure the nerves are definitely getting to him at this point.
And AA now entering Ganon's tower 2 minutes and about 5 seconds behind JSR. So that is certainly a lead that's going to be hard for him to overcome, especially if AA sees that small key and goes right.
Okay, he mirrored, so he is going to check the left side here.
Well, that'll help. JSR just flying through this gauntlet, not letting those moving floors slow him down in the slightest, getting the silver arrow hit off on the horse-headed enemy I can't recall the name of.
I think it's just Horsehead, actually.
Oh no, it's something with
oh, it
Z's
is?
and X's
Okay.
and G's.
Okay, never mind then.
And then the one cycle on land mode. JSR, what a gauntlet.
Yeah, definitely.
Zazax, chat is telling me, so no G.
Zazax, okay.
I just want to point out, I think what's going to speak for JSR's execution through this gauntlet is he started it with full hearts and he's lost 1 heart.
Wow.
Now 2 intentionally with green mail. He has not gotten hit as he ascended GT, and he did it faster than I've seen almost any runner in this tournament ever do it.
Yeah, if there's one time where you want this kind of execution, it's definitely right now, and he is going to be rewarded for it, I think. Going to go straight through these doors, almost at Moldorm too.
Starting on the gauntlet section, we'll see how he handles that. It is, of course, not an easy section to do.
Yeah, 5 rooms of non-stop destroy all the enemies, and the enemy's RNG can really, really mess you up here.
Perfectly clean Troll Dorm 2 from JSR, not taking no for an answer from anything, not even opening that chest. He has no time to waste. He needs to win this match. Slick little application of cape, and he's through that room as AA gets shot up a bit and makes his way into the Landmo 2 fight. I feel like JSR has gained time at this point.
I think he has too. The execution has been spot on. AA having great execution as well. But seriously, like, I'm almost convinced JSR like skipped a couple of rooms. He was going so fast.
And there we go. A 3-cycle fight in EGA 2 from JSR. AA in hot pursuit, but it's not going to be enough, it looks like, as JSR is going to go fight Ganon. Oh, 4-cycle. I'm sorry, chat. Numbers are hard.
Yeah, very hard. So after a glorious bit of slug trivia, we're on to the Ganon fights. It's going to take 12 slices with the Tempered Sword in this first phase, 12 for the second phase. Then just 4 for the third phase, and then 4 with silver arrows for the last one. And that's going to be basically what JSR needs to do to finish this fight and claim 3rd place in the fall tournament.
And looking at JSR's inventory there, he's got the full potion, and I think 2 more fairies in stock. This is not going to cause problems for him as he enters Phase 3.
Yeah, definitely not.
AA has a quick but not as quick fight on Moldorm 2. And I did see AA open that chest. He found the powder at the very end. Not helpful at this point in the race.
Nope, definitely not. So he's going to start agging too, but unfortunately, JSR2Gamers is on the final phase of Ganon.
Not quite getting the double. Ganon warping just in time, but there it is. 4 hits, and JSR2Gamers takes out Ganon, winning this match and getting 3rd place overall in this tournament. Great job, JSR2Gamers.
Yeah, that is correct. Finishing with an official SRL time of 2 hours, 1 minute, and 2 seconds. Get your GGs in chat. What an amazing run. Just excellent execution throughout Ganon's Tower. Just definitely shown that he was here to get this 3rd place position.
AA not far behind, finishing off the Aga 2 fight, but JSR2Gamers has speedrun the trek into the voice channel, so I'm going to bring him in here right now.
All right, do it.
JSR, GG and congratulations on 3rd place overall in the tournament.
Lost for words, are you?
If you're speaking right now, JSR, we cannot hear you.
Sorry, push the talk, you know.
There we are.
I figured it was something like that.
I cannot believe I won this seed. This race. I cannot believe it. I don't understand. That was a seed. That's all I can say is that was a seed, man.
It certainly was. How do you feel about bombs?
That was the moment in the run where I thought, I even said it out loud. I was saying, it's over. There's no way I'm winning this race. It's over. And, you know, I do not like rats and I do not like bombs. I don't like either one.
Yeah, like, oh my gosh, that, like, we were just talking about that when that was happening. That's just not a scenario you see, like, ever happening like that. It's just very, very unfortunate. And, like, especially earlier on in the escape section, you threw a bomb at a green guard, and the green guard didn't take damage from it at all. Like, you were wondering what happened there, and that was the bomb that you needed for that last part.
I have no clue. I remember that now. And, I could have sworn, and obviously I was wrong, but I could have sworn there was a pot in that escape room. And that's why I kept going. And then after that, I was just like, well, at this point, I'm already here. I might as well kill the rats and hope I get a lucky bomb.
Yeah, that's what we kind of thought you were doing.
I don't want to step away for too long, but I do want to point out AA has finished the race. He's got an official time of 2 hours, 3 minutes, 22 seconds, and he pulled through with that with half a heart remaining. A clutch finish, AA not giving up even when the race was over. So, again, great work to both these runners.
Yeah, man, GG double A. Definitely a class act, a good opponent, and gave me a run for my money, man. I'm glad you were able to put up some good matches for everybody.
Yeah, it was a fantastic match for sure, and like so many double dips and so many dungeons were required in this particular seed. It was ridiculous.
And I made some really bad gambles. I had a feeling because of everything I had got in the seed up to that point. Even though Myra was a pendant, I knew it was the play. I just knew it, and of course I was wrong. And then. At one point, I was like, I can either go into Swamp, I could go into Turtle Rock, or I can just go for the pedestal. And of course, that was nothing. And just every gamble and every move I made seemed to backfire. So, Yeah, that was probably the highest time I've ever won a race with.
Yeah, couldn't get sub 2 for either of you, and I don't blame you with all the double dips this seed forced. Looks like AA has joined the waiting room, so we'll bring him in as well. AmazingAmpharos, GG.
Yeah. So I was really unhappy with that first seed we ran because, everything was just free other than the mids. You guess wrong for the mids, you're done. So I wanted a slower, more complex seed, and I guess I at least got it.
Oh man, that seed. Oh, yeah. So which dips did you do that were the wrong ones? I'm sure you made some plays kind of like I did.
When I opened the chest with the flute, it was the last chest in the world, and after that point, I went into Mire looking for fire rod, hook shot, just desperate. So I knew I was horribly behind when the flute was where it was.
Yeah, it was kind of the same deal here. I went into Mire. I did a double dip of Turtle Rock, a double dip of Thieves Town, and if you didn't get the hammer your first time in, that would have been a triple dip because you needed the hammer. So the mirror, excuse me. So, in this seed, man.
Yeah, like when the hammer wasn't in Ice Palace, I knew things were bad. Then they pretty much just kept getting worse when, Eastern without the bow being required. Somewhere Haiku type is smiling.
Well, I want to thank you, man. It was awesome to get a chance to race you, and we've been racing for a long time in both Zelda 1 and now this game, and it's just it's an honor to match up with you, sir. And I look forward to racing you not only in this game but in Zelda 1 and possibly Zelda 2. I'm gonna start doing Zelda 2 randos here. Tomorrow's gonna be my first one, so maybe we can get some of those trilogy races in. I think that'd be a lot of fun.
I'm trying to learn this Link's Awakening randomizer, just all the Zelda randos, right?
Yeah, why not? I mean, it looks like a lot of fun, man. I need to learn DX first because, there's so many glitches and skips and stuff. But, I look forward to maybe learning that one as well. And there's going to be a tournament, I'm pretty sure. There's got to be a tournament for that coming up soon.
But this scene was spectacular. It really was. Like, obviously, the flute is what completely killed me. I don't know how early he went to Eastern. I'm guessing it wasn't super early, but it probably wasn't last place in the world. But then you can easily give most of that time back if you didn't go back to Thieves for the bow.
Yeah, I went to Eastern the second to last thing I did before AGA 1. And then because I got the flute, I was like, I'll check desert real quick. So I literally checked every single spot in the overworld before I did AGA 1. But I did luck out and get the mirror the first time in Thieves Town, so that kind of helped out a little bit. But
oh man, so you had the flute the whole game?
Yeah, I had the flute the whole game, but I had a lot of really bad dips. And then when I went into Escape the first time, I didn't have anything but bombs. And I ended up using all of my bombs leading up to Escape and couldn't get any bomb drops. So I had to do the sewer part of Escape twice.
Oh, that hurts. Because I went into Escape with enough bombs, so I was able to, clear Escape fully and just take a Death Warp and do Aga right there. Because, I saw the glove right away, so I knew no matter what Aga was required.
Yeah, I figured it was. I didn't actually check the tree, so I did everything until the point where I knew to get Dark World access, I had to kill Aga. I actually didn't check the tree until I had the boots, which I got. The boots were in pod, I believe? Yeah, they were in pod. And at that point, I was like, okay, I might as well go check it. And sure enough, it was the Titan's Mitt.
So the funny thing about feeling behind and the decisions it leads you to make, when I was in pod with the bow, late in the game, if I had decided, I think the bow is trolly enough, I can win this if nothing else silly happens, and just gone to the big chest before the boss, I think that's 2 minutes right there, because, I would have found the fire rod and then gone straight to Turtle Rock for go mode instead of beat the boss and then turn into Green Pendant. At least I didn't take pedestal bait. That was nice.
I took the pedestal bait. Blindfolded and everything.
Yeah, I had all 3 pendants. I was just like, let's not throw good time after bad. Everyone knows the hookshot's going to be in Turtle Rock. The game's screaming it.
Yeah, I kind of figured that after I got the fire rod, I kind of figured it was going to be Turtle Rock, but at that point I was going to check it anyways. I was like, that would be my luck that I would skip it and it would end up being that. So.
Yeah, this, just from a commentating and watching perspective, this was an incredible race with you two trading off in what you were checking so many times. We couldn't tell until very near the end who had anything resembling a lead, and that speaks to the craziness of this seed, but also to both of you as racers, where we knew kind of anything could happen. So great job.
Yeah, thank you guys very much. I really appreciate it. And again, GG AA. And thank you to everybody behind the scenes for putting this tournament together. It was a lot of fun to be a part of it. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. AA, do you have anything to say just to close out the tournament?
I do, but first I just have to ask one more thing about the seed. Did JSR ever find any mail or any shields?
No, I did not.
I was amazed at just the percentage of spots in the world I checked with none of those things.
I kind of figured they were probably in Ganon's Tower. I mean, looking at my tracker, the only things I had left were a couple spots. I never checked Laser Bridge, Mimic Cave. Obviously, I never found the books. So there was a couple spots there, some other stuff.
Yeah, that was just a spectacular thing, being basically naked at the end of the game after basically a full clear seed. It was remarkable.
It really was, man. What a seed.
But yeah, for the tournament as a whole, it was a heck of a ride, really. I went into it, I had a pretty cocky goal in top 8, which the more I've seen the competition in here, it was an overwhelmingly cocky goal. I actually ended up exceeding it. I mean, my last 2 sets didn't break my way, but so many others did. Can't complain overall. Just a wild ride, really. Good games to everyone I played.
All right, thanks very much. How about you, JSR? Any final thoughts on this tournament?
I just want to say this was amazing. I was very new to this game, the randomizer, when I got into this, and my goal is just to make it to groups. I really didn't think I was going to get anywhere near as far as I did, and it has been just crazy being a part of this in general, but also seeing, how lucky I was to even get into the bracket in the first place. Just one silver arrow was the difference between me going home and getting into the bracket stage. And just everybody I played gave me an amazing match every single time. And this community is awesome. I can't wait to meet some of you guys at GDQ next week. It's going to be awesome. And this has exceeded my expectations in every way. It's awesome.
Well, this tournament has, I think, exceeded pretty much everyone's expectations. It's been fantastic to watch. So congratulations again to JSR for that 3rd place victory. But again, great work, and thank you to both of you for doing this racing. Just before we wrap up here, a big list of people to thank. Starting off with Volt, the tracker, who kept that HUD updated, who has now modified it for hookshot and gold sword, but still only the green mail. Big thanks to all the secondary mods from the tournament. Sakura Tsubasa, GamerCal, In the Name of DT, Willard J. Bradley, Hiei408, Adirondack Rick, and the administrators of the tournament, Andy Christos, Dark Magician, Evil Ash, Feasel, JC, Carcat, Mythical, and VTorp, including anyone else who wasn't on that list that I happened to miss. And a huge thanks to Feasel and the Speed Gaming staff for running this tournament. It does not happen without you. And thanks to the viewers for tuning in. I have been Philion, and I'm going to leave the final word for this tournament with Slim Kirby.
Wow, thank you very much. Pretty much I echo all those thanks. This has been an amazing tournament. So many people worked their butts off to get all these matches played out, and in a very timely fashion. I mean, this was a huge undertaking. 2 big tournaments, main and secondary, and both of them were pretty much completed on schedule, which is amazing. And it was just evidence that the community really came together, and we really knocked this out of the park. So, good game to everyone involved, because this was an absolute treat to see it from the very beginning stages to the very end. And of course, thanks to all the viewers as well for making this such a fun thing to do for you guys almost on a daily basis. There were matches all the time, and it was great to experience this with all you guys. But the randomizer action is not completely over, just this tournament. The daily races will be continuing on the Speed Gaming channels up until GDQ, so keep your eyes out for those, happening at 2 p.m., 8 p.m., and 11 p.m. Eastern every single day up until GDQ. Obviously, GDQ is going to be broadcasting Randomizer, so keep your eyes out for that. There is a Key Sanity tournament coming in the near the end of January, so that is something to look forward to. It's not Randomizer, but there's also the No Major Glitches Link to the Past run, so definitely check that out as well. So a lot of Link to the Past is coming up, and it may be the end of this, but it will definitely be the start of so many other things, so definitely keep your eyes on that. So thank you, everybody. This has been Slim Kirby, and thank you for another great tournament. Later, everyone.
Stay tuned to this channel for the Restream Daily Race coming up right next. Good night.
Good night.